we were having a conversation around this thing called Nini in the previous hour, e-citizen, and I'm saying it's a monster that might really, for lack of a better word, itatuharibia hii country tusipoiangalia mapema. Lakini in this particular hour, we want to switch gears and talk about protests that we have experienced in this country, and of course, just if indeed we shall have any dialogue whatsoever. People are saying that it is important for us to have a dialogue, but there are those who are against that dialogue. And of course, in studio is none other than Professor Fred Ogola. He's a commissioner with PRJC. We are hoping Kasmuel will make it before we end the show. So Kasmuel, if you're hearing or listening, tafadhali chukua nduthi, toka kwa gari, chukua nduthi ndio ufike hapa mapema. Not doctor, but Professor Fred, good morning and welcome to the station. Once again.
It's a pleasure to be at RG.
Yes.
Yes, and also to see my friend here, City Muga.
Yeah.
The conversation cannot be smaller than that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I was just telling you when I met you at the reception there that every morning I quote some of the things that you've mentioned on this show.
Really?
Yes.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, and someone once asked me, "Kwani professor nakulipa?" Nikamwambia hapana, sijamlipa. Ni venye actually find a lot of sense in some of the things you've said. But anyway,
just tell them
yes
that being a professor, people get cited.
Yes.
The more cited you are cited, the more you elevate your professorship. So being cited is a good thing.
It's a good thing.
Yes, especially if you are citing what can actually improve people's lives.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So let's get right into the conversation.
Yes.
From protest to dialogues, what is the end game? You've always been against dialogue.
Yes.
You're for the opinion of a transition government between now and election date in 2027.
Yeah.
Perhaps you can elaborate for those who might be hearing this for the very first time. What is the issue with the dialogue? We know that ODM leader Raila Odinga has always insisted that we need an intergenerational dialogue. He calls it conclave. Yesterday, Professor Lumumba here said conclave near the Pope. Let's focus on the word, which is dialogue.
Yeah.
You're against it. Why?
Actually, to add P.L. Lumumba's words, conclaves can only be done either by witches or by prince. Those are the cardinals who elect the Pope.
Yes.
And it's a very secretive meeting. No one even tells you, do you know who voted for Pope Leo?
I personally don't.
So if you don't even know who voted for him, do you even know which regions of Asia or US
Africa
or Europe made him Pope? So how do we have the conclaves in Kenya where everything remains in secret? So the witches can meet at night and agree on what they are going to do against us. So we cannot accept a conclave. That is completely out of the way. But now let me tell you why I thought that we need to have national transitional government even before we discuss about dialogue is that you've had the following. The country shouting one term, half term. The country is in the mood that they don't want this government. But also, opinion poll shows that 86% of Kenyans have no faith in the current government. Then on the other side, someone says, like for example, Raila Odinga said in Homa Bay, that Ruto's 2027-2032 is non-negotiable. You see, that one is someone speaking who is even above God. You understand?
Okay.
Because who knows, even me, I don't know whether my tomorrow is negotiable. Because let me tell you what, if God makes a phone call to me, there's no missed call. Have you ever had someone whom God called and got a missed call?
Not
normally the call goes through. Because even if you don't pick the call, you go. And then secondly, you've heard the other side have said non-negotiable. Secondly, they have said that I am going nowhere. You've heard the president saying I'm going nowhere.
Oh, yeah.
I am not going to hand over power to people without agenda. You've heard those terms?
Yes, I have.
Then the last one, which is the most painful one, he said, if there's no Kenya for me, there's no Kenya for you. Of course, you can interpret by saying he's saying Kenya is for all of us, but that's what it means. People are saying he should go home. They're not telling him to die. They're saying he should go home. He should go to Sugoi and rest. When he said there's no Kenya for me, there's no Kenya for you, interpreted correctly, and I'm sure City Muga is a good interpreter because he has got literary skills.
Yeah.
That simply means if I'm not president, I would rather be a president and stand on your graves. Because if I'm not president, you are dead. You get my point?
Okay.
Now, how can you go to an election with this mood? Now, secondly, if you look at what they are saying we need to discuss, the Raila Odinga said they are going to come with a team that will work to implement the NADCO report, isn't it? So when they're implementing NADCO report, why are we doing dialogue and they're implementing it? One of the issues people had was the setting up of IBC.
Yeah.
They have already done it. So this dialogue is to achieve what? So this dialogue is about managing people. Then the last and the most unfortunate thing, when Honorable Raila Odinga, who is our father anyway, with all respect, went to a studio and said that the dialogue should start from grassroots. So I come from Ugenya.
Yes.
So dialogue should begin from Ugenya. Am I quarreling with my parents? What are we dialoguing with? The dialogue here, I go to start telling my villagers, let's have dialogue over what? Have I stolen their cows? The issue here is that there is lack of accountability at the topmost office called State House. You understand?
Professor, you're being sarcastic. Of course, you've not stolen anyone's cows in the grassroots.
Yeah.
But I think what he meant was tusikize watu kwa ground wanasemaje, so that now
washasema, walisema kufa makanga, kufa dereva. Those words didn't come from me, isn't it? Lakini makanga alikufa, dereva bado yuko, alafu akaleta makanga mwingine, sivyo? So those needs are not for me. Go to the ground ishasema. Ground are saying they want something different. Shisho shoe is not working. Education sector is not working. Tell me one thing that Kenya Kwanza has delivered with absolute precision. The only thing I know the president has done so far, which I have to acknowledge, is to motivate Harambee Stars.
Okay.
Motivation he has given. Though that is not the way I'm looking at it, but he has motivated them.
Okay.
When someone when he sees a ball coming next to him, he sees 1 million shillings. It's not different. It does not look the same as when you see a ball coming next to you and you don't see 1 million shillings. So he has done that. But motivation is not enough. There must be infrastructure around football. There must be grassroots around it. So he can go further, do that if interested. But let me tell you what. With this conversation should not be had by these people because they will not deliver it. When you see somebody who can sign who can promise something and he has been given as the best lie in the world, let me tell you one thing. I was advising Americans the other day that Americans, they have CIA, which has intelligence.
Yes.
Yet they sign a non-NATO ally agreement with the one who has been voted the best lie in the world. How do you expect him to keep it? I'm baffled. Would you go City Muga in your village and marry the lady who is known to the biggest lie in the village, and you are signing a marriage contract with that woman or that man? I'm fumbled. So for me, no matter what we discuss with these people,
right,
they can't deliver it. That's what I'm trying to say. If they get out, we get a transition government. Eminent people who are not concerned about running election. You just come for these 2.5 years and put things into perspective. There are many things we cannot defer to 2027.
Prof,
when elections begin...
Prof, I have to ask you this question, because you've said it around 3 times.
Yeah.
The transition government and the people who you say would populate this position, where would we get them and what qualities are we looking for? And how or what guarantee will we have that they will not do what many political leaders do once they get to that position? What are these guarantees that we will have?
You say one thing once you know you are in government for 24 months.
Let's start with who first.
Yes.
What are the qualities that these people will have so that we know these people are people who, A, have a track record of getting things done, have a reasonable degree of morality, whatever the criteria is, how will we know? I'm not even asking how we will get them, because such people exist.
Yes, they do exist.
How will we know?
So let me tell you what, many things we know very easily. The only thing we ignore them. There's a formula to these things. For example, what is the Kenyan problem at the moment? The main Kenyan problem are 2, but one causes the second one. One is economic. The second one is rule of law. The rest of the things don't worry about. So somebody with an economic background, you have them. Kenya was heading treasury, and I work with Kinyua when I was advising Kibaki, he is a seasoned person. And he's right there. The problem we are having is that if you take Kinyua to go advise Ruto, he won't listen to Kinyua. He has got Mutahi Kagwe, who is now only doing TikTok because he cannot do anything. So the thing is that if we get people with qualification on track record of economics. Did you hear Professor Nguna talking after leaving the department? We used to fly with him to Mombasa whenever I used to go there. He told me, Professor, that is a place where you cannot say anything. The more competent you are, the more problematic you are to the government. The more unqualified, incompetent you are, the more you're attractive. Look at the qualified people, Asudi, Farouk Kibet, name them. Look at their education background. I'm not here to mention them because everybody knows their education background their own. So if we get people the track records, the economy, second rule of law. But rule of law is a problem because of failure in economy. Imagine every year, I'm a professor and I'm actually a deputy vice chancellor in a university in Kenya. We graduate 1 million students every year to join jobless market. You hear a bucket called jobless market. Now, in 2022, we had 1 million. 2023, 1 million. 2024, 1 million. This year, 1 million will come, and next year, 1 million. Those are 5 million people. How many jobs are we creating every year? 0. Can you wait to 2027? No. Politicians want to push us as if it's a political problem so that we look for a political solution, and we have went to a ballot in 1997 to solve the political problem. We've never solved it. Yeah. But economic problem can actually solve a political problem. Okay. Let me tell you, if you and your wife are quarreling at home over sijui sukari limwagika, sijui wewe ulitumia chai vibaya, when you have money, you'll stop discussing about small things like that. You get me?
Yes.
We are trying to solve a small problem which is political. There is no political problem in Kenya. Ruto is the most qualified politician in Kenya. He's the longest serving active politician consecutively, more than anybody else. From 1997 to now, he has never been out of government. You understand? Raila is always out of government but as a proxy. So Raila cannot qualify the longest serving person. But the second person who is in government is Raila Odinga. Musalia Mudavadi also equally very long. But the point I'm trying to do here is that they are good in solving the political problem. Kibaki was the worst in solving a political problem, but he solved economic problem. And I tell Kenyans, we made a very big mistake because Kibaki was solving economic problem, but poorly did not even know how to do political. Imagine economy is going at double digit and someone is almost failing to get a second term. Yeah. Am I wrong about that? Double digit growth in economy, and someone is struggling to win what? Second term. Now Ruto is growing the economy at 4.8%, then someone saying kumi bila break. Let me tell you what, there will be emergency break in 2027. Emergency break. Wacha mambo ya.
What do you mean by that?
Emergency break. You might even find that before the first round, Ruto is already one term. So people can go for second round when he's out of the race. Like you have not qualified for finals for Chan. How do you play final if you didn't qualify for final? So what I'm trying to say here is, Bana, let me tell you lastly on this word. City Moga, tell me anybody who has been given 2 terms in this world. God has given everybody only 1 term. So why asking for 2 terms? Because I'm in this world. The day I leave this world, there is no way I'm coming back. So according to me, there is something God has heard, the cry for Kenyans. You cannot treat people the way you're treating people, then the God is dead. God is not dead. God is not absent in our life. God will make it happen. Because you cannot say the only reason why Ruto will have second term is because he's a thief and he can steal the election. How can we have such a democracy?
I'm trying to remember someone, their name and their face is kind of coming, but their name is disappearing. But someone suggested something similar to what you've just said. But they were suggesting it happens in 2027. So this person was suggesting that we elect a president in 2027 who will only go for 1 term up until 2032 na aondoke. The solution this person was offering was saying that this particular person becomes a transition leader from the kind of governance we're seeing to a better way of governing. So they come in, they do exactly what you're saying. They shouldn't seek a second term. Kazi yao tu ni clean up, take care of corrupt officials, take care of the economic situation, take care of the political situation. And once they achieve that in 2032, whether they have achieved it or not, in 2032 they do not seek re-election.
Are we thinking of changing our constitution? Because how will we anchor that? Even what the professor is saying, how do you anchor what you are suggesting in the constitution?
He will tell
the
us.
The process of anchoring it is political. Are you telling me that the politicians will create
a separate rule?
No, a rule that actually threatens their existence and the positions they have.
So now Professor will elaborate on what he meant by that, but I was just echoing what you were also
we
saying.
have a formula.
Yeah. So this person was saying huyu mwenye atakuja 2032 kazi yake tu ni ku clean up na ondoke.
That, my friend, is what you call magic thinking.
Yeah, the thing, once that person has gone through a political process,
yes,
and became a president,
right,
you will not give them a limit because the constitution give them a right to contest again.
True.
So that will require that. But for me, at the moment, let me tell you, my brother, if you are in hospital dying,
yes,
and SHA is not working for you, then I tell you wait for 2027 ballot. Are you listening?
Of course not.
If you are hungry dying now, you know how cold it is. I've come from home. It's very cold. My fingers are very cold. I'm happy for the tea you've given me here. But some people are in the cold the whole night. Me, I've just left my house. Then after 15 minutes, I'm feeling cold. They're on cold now. You are telling them to wait for 2027. And I can tell you, as we wait for 2027, if William Ruto plus his people were administrators in your company, the way they are stealing from this government, you're still giving them 24 months. Do you know that in some companies they'll fire you immediately and you live with your hands handcuffed? Let me give an example. Safaricom has left people with handcuffed after money is stolen. They are left handcuffed, leaving Safaricom house. You understand?
Yes.
Why did they not give them 24 months to wait? So we are doing this because the money, the public funds, is not painful for anybody.
Actually, that is not true. The pain that the citizens of this country are feeling and the sense of helplessness is what needs to be explained, because the suffering is immense. The pain that is being felt is immense. It isn't something that you can trivialize. More and more businesses are closing. There isn't a robust circulation of money within the economy. The government is applying some nonsensical austerity measures which will not take us anywhere. It will only just deepen the problems that we have. So when we look at the situation that we have, and we're talking about a process that got us the leaders we have, and we think that that process will give us something different. How?
Actually, Setimuga, I'm not talking about the same process. Let's not call the law of necessity, which is what you're talking about. Doctrine of necessity. And Jesus explains in the Bible. Even Muhammad has explained it. Even Bahir Gita is written there in the Quran. Was the law made for man, or man was made for the law?
Law made for the man.
Law was made for the man. During NADCO, was NADCO legal? Which provision the Constitution gives us a process to do NADCO?
The Supreme Court said it was unconstitutional, period.
Yes, so then we go again, but it is happening. People met again and agreed.
Now there's a commission
to implement, and there's a commission now to do it. So for you, say what you like. So that I'm trying to tell you, we are not going to wait for them to do evil.
Actually,
let's go again to National Accord. National Accord was also not constitutional.
By the way, Prof.
And somebody became a prime minister on a National Accord. Which constitution did it derive it from?
Prof, there's something here that is happening. What you say is true. The fact that changes are made and these meetings take place, they can be as unconstitutional as anything can be. But what it points me to is that somebody somewhere is actually listening. Yes. Because all these things that we're lambasting are an attempt to do something. An attempt. We may not agree with what is being done, but an attempt is being made. It is like, here it is, we are presenting you with this, which should rectify the situation. And we're saying, no, we don't think that's going to rectify the situation. So something else comes up. Whether it is NADCO, whether it is BIDCO, whatever it is that is being formulated, the truth of the matter is that contrary to what people say that this government doesn't listen, they do listen. It's just that what they keep coming up with is what I believe they think the citizenry require.
No, actually,
let me repeat it. It's what they think the citizenry require, and what they think will give the impression that they're actually solving a problem. But the fact that it is, despite all these people are still saying, no, excuse me, this isn't quite solving the problem. Prof, where I'm going with this is this. Our focus has been on certain types of leaders that we must have. Every electoral cycle in this country, the hemorrhaging that is represented by the number of people who are dropped in positions of political leadership and the new ones brought in, tells us that we do look for people who we think can help us as a citizenry. The thing we do not do, we have not come up with a formula of holding these political leaders to account. We don't hold them accountable. The leeway that they have to do what they want, it is us who enable them. We are the enablers.
When you say formula, what do you mean? Because the Constitution gives us the opportunity to hold them to account.
Do we?
So let me say this, Sete Moga.
Yes, we don't do it.
Let me say this with a lot of humility. Let me say that this government has a manual. You know how you have a manual for using your phone?
Yes.
And there are 3 manuals. One is the Constitution of Kenya 2010. The second manual are laws made in Parliament. The third manual are policies made in ministries. They are manuals. They even tell you if you want to buy a pen, how do you procure a pen? They tell you if you want to do a road, how do you do it? Like now, look at what they are doing now. The issue of State House. The president in State House does State House in a way that does not comply to the Constitution. And when we are calling him president, for me, he ceased to be president because he's violating the very law he should protect. Because he took two oaths, allegiance to the Constitution and the people of Kenya, which he should be doing what Kenyans want. Secondly, due execution of office, which shows there's a way you need to execute that oath you have taken. And he's not doing it. So according to me, there's no guesswork. If the constitution needs to be changed, City Muga to give us power, talk about accountability, we need to change just Article 1 of the Constitution, where they say sovereign power belongs to the people and can be executed directly or indirectly, then put there a clause that the citizens can recall the president directly without passing through Parliament. We are where we are here because of institutional failure. And the infiltration in the Constitution of institutions are too many, even to debate. Let me tell you, do you know why UK is a stable country?
Why?
They are stable, but since Tony Blair was left being Prime Minister, they have had 9 Prime Ministers and they are stable. Do you know why? It's easy for the president to go home.
The Prime Minister?
For us, yes. For us, the president of Kenya looks like terminal illness, like cancer, that you can only manage, you cannot eliminate. Of course, cancer can be eliminated, but for him is even stronger than cancer. So we have been saying, just manage me until 2032. No, we can't. So according to me, there's a mechanism. Let me stop discussing about him. Let me tell you. I came up with an economic model called Solomonic Economics, which I think Siti Muga knows that.
I am familiar with it.
From that book, I have brought an economic ideology specific for Kenya called Evolve, where E is economic turnaround. What are the sectors of the economy which were working before and no longer working that needs to be turned around? It's documented. I've even put it public.
Okay.
If he wants to implement it, he can pick and implement. If he can't implement, he waits until I become president and implement it. Economic turnaround is tea, coffee, sugar, pyrethrum, textile, apparel. Those are not working. You know, a town called Muhoroni. Muhoroni yes. is the most industrialized rural town in Kenya. Tell me any. It's dead because the sugar belt is gone. If you turn around there, how many jobs can you create and people can go back to work?
You know, I come from Moroni.
Now, that's why I need to be your president. Now, we come now to the yes. second one is E then V, value addition. We are exporting 80% of our products in raw materials. We are not waking up the sleeping giants of the economy. If we do that, we will be okay. The next one from E talk about optimize talent. How can we, instead of jailing these youths and abducting them and disappearing with them, tell them to solve for you SHA? If you give these young people 200 million shillings, like this is your salary for 1 month.
Yes.
You give them enough to tell them, develop for us a system for SHA. They'll do it. If with AI they can document what Parliament should do, just one person can come with a system to tell you how Parliament should be tracking their work. Then you arrest that person, Jerry's case, isn't it? With AI, they can even create you in the grave. You understand? They can do anything. So why are you giving 104 billion shillings to somebody in India to do for you what Kenya can do? So sports, musics, arts, technology, invest in those things. These people get jobs because I've told you 1 million are leaving for jobless market every year.
Right.
The next one is L, leverage strategic partnership. Now, why that's important is, yesterday in the front page of the Business Daily, they said how brokers are doing business on behalf of government. The problem now we are having is that instead of government doing the work, government picks brokers to become middlemen to increase the cost of the final goods. Like the final Panadol is expensive because somebody must eat 2 shillings from you. And if there are 1 billion Panadols, you can imagine how rich they are. If they are taking 2 shillings from you per Panadol, and there are 1 billion Panadols, they become billionaires. Then you see them living life well, you think you're poor. We need to stop that. We need to stop that. And let's allow me to finish here.
No, please do.
Because what is important here is that these middlemen who are selected to become billionaires are making very difficult for government to be lean. So in our proposal in the Evolve, we should run a lean, clean, transparent government. Because the president stopped having an office in Harambee House to stay in State House, which has 3 gates. There's gate A, there's gate B, and there's gate C.
Right.
Now on gate C, you go, if you have 1 million now, if you give me, I'll take you to State House by tomorrow.
Okay.
You understand? Gate B, if you know somebody can hold their skirt or trouser, you go. Gate A is the official gate. It can take 6 months, 1 year. So we need a lean, clean government which is transparent. Then now we go now to V.
Right.
Vulnerability management. The people who are vulnerable, the youth, the women, name them. Even some areas in Kenya are vulnerable, like where there are wars and the rest. We need to sort out that one. The last one, I'm talking about environmental stewardship, where the blue economy comes from. This thing implemented is being done in Rwanda. That's why I'm consulting for Rwanda, isn't it?
Right.
It's being done in Ethiopia. It's being done elsewhere. Now, the solutions are there. They are known, but there's no goodwill to do it. So according to me, if these people can't do it, and those not if, they can't do it, because if you look, my brother, the president's maiden flagship signature one was Hustler Fund. It's dead. It's dead because the repayment rate is default rate is too high. We have lost 35 billion shillings to the wind, and if he cannot implement his maiden project,
right,
what else can he do? Nothing.
All right. Interesting perspective as far as that is concerned. Let me just read a few comments here from Kenyans who are watching. Kuna Hussein Kelvin, a very good morning to you. There's Njoki Ndwiga Habari, Njuki Mungai, a very good morning. Muhammad Murunga. Then we do have Azaria Eunice Kioko watching all the way from Machakos. Ameuliza kwani mbona tupatie prezo hardship allowance? That was from a previous hour. Marion Mbogwa, a very good morning to yourself. And then sorry, there's Kiki Onyonka pia amesema good morning. Thank you so much for tuning in. Now we do have our guest, our second guest in studio, and that is none other than McOure. Bro, I thought tulisema utumiange nduthi, it will get you here faster.
Forgive me, this is one of those. I just have to make a public apology. I had a hospital run in the night and I overslept.
Yeah.
Yes. That's what happened.
Okay.
It's not too deep.
This is the last time we are forgiving you. Next time unanunulia chai kila mtu hapa.
You hata bila forgiveness chai tunaweza.
Na tunakunywanga very expensive tea, But anyway, nonetheless, you have made it.
Yes.
Welcome. You just found Professor talking about the fact that we need a transition government because the current regime is imetukalia sana. But I remember the last time you were here, you were advocating for dialogue.
Yes.
Because your party leader Raila Amolo Odinga did say that we need an intergenerational conclave so that we can stop protests. We can just focus on, first of all, silencing the chaos and having a more constructive engagement. Perhaps you can help us support that. Rather, you can have the opportunity to support that argument, because he's for the idea, look, we are not having any dialogues. We've had NADCO, we've had TJRC, we've had the Ndungu report and many other reports. Nothing has been done on them. So maybe perhaps you can let us know what new thing is going to happen if we do decide to have a dialogue.
I think these are not opposing conversations. In the ideal world, we should have a transitional government.
Right.
It's what I said in the streets last year, is what I totally believed that would have taken Kenya forward. But now I'm in a political party. The political temperature of the country has shifted.
Right.
And I personally am listening to the people. I think that's what I've seen, because at the height of our protests, that is what we proposed. That is what the Nane protests were about. The protests that were happening on the 8th of August were specifically, these were the issues. Iyo Nane kabla ya saa nane was basically saying we will clean out this government and everybody has to go home, and then we will have a transitional government. This was when we had the whole nation's attention. And so now I'm looking at it, and while it still sounds ideal, my question is, I cannot impose my beliefs upon the people. We have to trust the people to be their own liberators. We would have had support. I hit the peak of my fame on 8th of August.
Right.
Not because of what I said, not because of it's because people saw me jumping into a media house building.
Yeah. I saw that picture and I was like, this guy needs to run for Kenya.
You see that? Yeah. That is the thing that made me famous. It was not the things I was saying. That is what said, Uyu, this one has a lot of promise as a Gen Z. When a state is attempting at my life, that is when that was, one, funny to the people. Two, it was the moment that now people say, this one now he has promise. So if that is what I was saying at the peak when we had the nation's attention, and I got really bashed, by the way. People really told me these are stupid ideas, and now I'm just listening to the people and saying, after all that has happened, and by the way, Prof is a man I respect, because when he still used to lecture at Strathmore, he came and gave a lecture. There's a friend of his who used to be one of my lecturers. So he lectured me when I was in 3rd year. And so for me, the relationship I have with Prof is one of deep respect, because I have seen, and he has been consistent in the things that he has been saying. But now personally, I'm looking at it as, I cannot impose my will upon the Kenyans. If I were to have it my way in an ideal sense, that's what would have happened. But be it as it may, it has gotten to the point where, and as we always say, we cannot fool all the people all the time. Why is it that why are the people leaving this work to Prof? Yes, because it is him who has suffered the brunt of bad governance, when he's had a case that I see people mocking him for. When he has been fighting for institutional reforms, he has refused to settle and do all those kinds of things. I'm also just saying, I will work with Kenyans at this pace, because I cannot think of myself as wiser than the nation. So this dialogue, for me, what it does is it allows us to sit down in this broken system,
right,
until we can find the critical mass again for the people to reform the entire thing. All I'm saying is, I would rather sit down and have this dialogue, as flawed as the process might be, than see more people die in the streets.
Right.
Kasmuel, you've actually introduced a new brand of politics.
In what way?
You are a philosophical politician, because you waxed very eloquently on the thinking and philosophy of theories of how it is that one should position themselves.
If you just call them theories.
I don't call them theories, because they are theories.
City is just telling me
Yes,
he's done well. I myself was taken up by the poetry, just listening to this idyllic situation that he's talking about. In theory, it works. In practice, in the Kenyan context, my friend, there is this simple question.
Yeah.
Does any politician want to be really understand what the Kenyan public wants? Do they actually know? So that when you give it to them, they will tell you, yes, this is what we wanted. Do they know?
Yes.
Really, what is it that they want?
But these things the things that Kenyans want are rather obvious. They just want.
I want you to tell me these obvious things.
Reforms in education. They want a good education. They want nutrition and food security. They want an end to corruption. I'll give you top 4. And I said education and employment.
And how do we realize these things?
It is not difficult. That's why I'm saying these things do not exist in a vacuum.
I agree with you.
Policy-wise, these things should have been realized.
Yes. But they haven't been realized.
They have not been realized.
Precisely.
Despite the fact that we have a live constitution, and we have good politicians. Now you need to understand what I'm saying. I'm not saying that
I've understood you perfectly.
And we have good politicians.
Yes, we do. Whom we elected.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Are they not the same people who are supposed to give us these things that we know we want?
They are.
Okay. So now, if we know what we want, why do we elect people who, by experience, by what we've seen, will not give you what you want, and we keep electing them, and then we say we know what we want? Don't you see the contradiction there?
I don't think there's a contradiction. The contradiction maybe arises from the point at which we have the discussion. And I've been following, and Prof has really held his fort quite well. And you guys, I think this is a productive conversation. But if we're talking about jobs, ideally governments world over don't create jobs. And we know this to be true. The whole idea of a government has only maybe 800 jobs, and the replacement
is if the discussion about government performance is going to begin with government creating situations, opportunities, that particular ship sailed.
Yes.
The problems that Kenyans have are not problems in secret. They're in the public domain.
Right.
What solves these problems is money, usually.
Yes.
When you have a situation where this money and its availability lessens within an economy, how on God's earth do you think you're going to be solving even the smallest of problems?
No, you won't.
Exactly.
You won't, but...
No. Let me come in. First of all, thank you very much, Kasmuel, for coming. And I'm sure the last day we were very close. It's the last day I was arrested.
Yeah.
And you are coming to we are fighting for my release, I remember, at Central. We have paid a heavy price for where we are at the moment. I've been arrested and been in the cell over 12 times. Sometimes we have paid even heavy prices that no one knows, but now I can say. Like, see, that day I was at Central when my wife came to bring me food and she could not be allowed to give me food. She came the next day trying for my release and I could not. So then they came later and told me, Fred, we have talked with the OCS. We pay him your cash bill, then you leave. But I was in the cell with 200 people, many other people. So I said, I cannot leave alone if these boys don't leave. Because we are agreed as a movement that the leaders leave last. So what's happening? Kasmuel, that day my wife packed and went to Voi. And she was away for 6 months, said she cannot be marrying somebody in a cell through and out. I went to Voi and knelt several times to get her back. But people don't know that. That's not public domain. But now it is now. That is the truth of the matter. We have paid heavy price. Even Kasmuel, you paid heavy price. The only thing you cannot pay heavy price, then you cut it short. And I want to tell you, my brother, consistency beats intensity any day. And that's why I remain consistent. I don't want intensity. You did something with a lot of intensity, then you left it. Then without intensity, without consistency, intensity is useless. You get my point? You can win first half of the match, even score 6-0. Then the next half you play badly and you are given 8-6. You lost the match anyway. So I ask people who still believe in progressive movement to insist on that. Now, what you've said, there is no government in the world that creates jobs, that's untrue. And if you believe that, then you should ask the Kenya Kwanza, where Raila Odinga is, and that's your party leader, is signing agreement with countries abroad to take Kenyans to those countries. How can a government of Germany sign agreement with Kenya to take jobs to Germany if Germany cannot create jobs? Because that's a fallacy.
Oh, just
So I'm trying to say it's correct that these things have been in the public, that the government of Kenya said we have signed an agreement to take 500,000 young people abroad with another government, government to government, G to G. And then if you believe that governments cannot create jobs, why do they sign those agreements?
But
let me just
some clarity on
just
something.
a little maybe on that. That's not what I meant. The role of government is to enable good conducive environments for entrepreneurs to create. Because if a government, like in that case that Prof has put out, what it's doing is just transfer of jobs. Like if a government says that it wants to, a politician, let's say the president says he wants to invest in an infrastructure project like affordable housing or this dueling of the Rironi-Mau Summit Highway, and then they say it will create jobs. If you think about it critically in the economic environment, what it has done is it's just transfer of jobs. So if it was going to cost the taxpayer 100 billion, this is 100 billion people who've been taken to Mjengo. It's just a transfer. That's what I'm saying, that instead of focusing on saying we want to build this big economic project, what it's supposed to do, because the thing that makes people not create jobs is there's a lot of red taping, there's a lot of bureaucracy that you look at it and you say, no, I would rather go and work in Rwanda. Why is Prof consulting for a foreign government? Is because it's easier. There's less red taping there. This expertise for
no, it's not red taping.
Yes.
Kasmuel.
Yes.
Fred Ogola was fired by the president for having said the truth, the economy cannot work. So how can I work in Kenya? I can't. So even you, like now, these young people being charged with terrorism, how will they ever work in Kenya? So the issue is not just about creating, they're actually killing jobs. And I want to say that if you look at even saying the government does not create jobs, affordable housing, the bottom-up economic model, that the fact that ODM and UDA are in agreement to work together, it is about government creating jobs for the people. And I said that is the wrong thinking. And let me explain properly here.
Yeah.
The thinking of the Kenya Kwanza government when they came with the better bottom-up economic transformation agenda was affirmative action economic theology, thinking that it's like you are a father at home, a child cries, is hungry, you give them a mandazi. Someone cries, you give them samosa. Someone cries, give them a sausage. But instead of guaranteeing food security at home where there is breakfast, there is lunch, there is dinner, for you throw money where there's a problem. Now, State House, 1 billion spent in 1 day in affirmative action. As structural economists, we should do what you're trying to say, creating an enabling environment, should say there is free primary education. Now, someone can now start supplying pencil. Yes. Someone can supply a book and earn for themselves. When I was Kibaki's economic advisor, I was also working with the Housing Finance Bank. My colleagues left the bank saying, there is business booming, I cannot be employed. You get me? Who has quit their jobs today because the economy is booming because of Kenya Kwanza? They can't. So the government now is doing both. Instead of creating jobs for people and also creating an environment for people to get jobs, they are killing the opportunity to create jobs, but also not giving those jobs. Because if you say that affordable housing giving people jobs, do you know any neighbor of yours, a relative, a friend, or even someone in your WhatsApp group who confirms they are now working in affordable housing? I don't know. I only know people sending me, Professor, here my CV. You know, I heard you are working in Uzima University. Give me a CV here. I saw you going to Rwanda. Please, can you take me there? That's what I'm hearing. But I'm not hearing people getting these jobs. So the economic thinking of these people is not working. And I want to tell Kasmuel to tell me now that he left the issue of transition government right now. Nane were with you, my brother. By the way, I just don't respect you. I also love you as a brother.
Yeah.
But as a brother, I also have to advise you. And I think we met one day and we had our chat somewhere. And I told you, consistency beats everything. And if you join here, tell me what is the economic ideology of ODM that can transform Kenya.
Right.
Tell me that economic ideology of Kenya Kwanza that now you guys are working with that can transform Kenya. So tell a woman, a mother, a brother listening to us, why they should wait for you until 2027 as we dialogue. How that dialogue will solve these current problems. If you don't have that answer, please join me.
I think
let's do transition government.
I can answer that question, but also one, I would love to maybe rebut what you've just said, because even as you've waxed lyrical about Kibaki's government, the contexts are very different, because I was alive at that time. Kibaki does all these things that people talk about in terms of the economy doing double digits in comparison to the double decimals that you would say are happening now. But
double decimals.
Yes,
yeah,
but
don't do so.
yes, no. In this particular context,
right,
he fails to get a second term. The thing that I feel like you're glossing over is that there were grave human rights violations in Kibaki's government, so bad that a man who gave people that money which we speak of could not get a second term in terms of re-election. So when we jump through the arguments conveniently, saying when we look at Kibaki now we just want to look at this thing and we want to look at, if I were to say, I really don't like to do this because I am not paid to do it. I'm supposed to be speaking about youth league people. For whatever reason, this is the first president who sat down and said anything to do with compensation of protests. ODM's position right now, Fred, if we are to be honest, there is no economic ideology that can be brought into a government halfway through its term.
Wait, who says that?
I do. That's the case I'm making right now.
But
you elected. No, we gave you.
Team of experts.
Let me explain. You must allow me to learn that there is a government that Kenyans were given two options. We said kuna hii azimio la vijana, azimio la masomo, azimio la wamama, and then we gave you this. Then someone gave you a bottom-up economic transfer. Then you said, we want this bottom-up one. Then now, in the middle, during the time of a crisis, I go to the streets, you come to the streets, and we do this thing and we upset. Yeah. Remember, it is not we who had these ninis who joined the government. The pact is signed between ODM and UDA. We do not see UDA relinquishing influential power to ODM in such a way that ODM can transform.
Kasmuel.
Yes.
You have experienced change in mid-sentence, mid-activity. When you had that beautiful protest that you people had, which essentially was a party.
Yes.
Quiet, peaceful, wonderful. When your life was in danger, you took flight. That's changing.
Yes.
That was not your plan.
Yes.
But when you saw danger coming, you realize, my friend, I'd better look for safety. If you have a policy and you thought it would work and it isn't working, what stops you mid-sentence or mid-term to say, guys, this thing isn't working the way I thought?
Right.
What stops you? Because if you want to be honest with your citizens, you say, guys, this is what we thought.
But Muga, before he replies, what you could have done, Kasmuel, instead of telling us we should go for dialogue, you should come with that ideology and tell Ruto, we will work with you in condition that you either do this or give us something better.
And Prof, I'll tackle both. CT, the question you've asked is more suitable for the sitting president, and I'll mirror it back to you. Then that if you see that this is problematic and it's not working, I should be able to face the people. Then it means that the person who's at the top is not seeing that his plan is not working. So how can they experience change mid-sentence?
He does.
In what way?
ODM would not be where they are right now. He saw that was his solution to the problem, because there is a problem. These handshakes in Kenya arise when there's a problem, a patent one, and there's an imminent threat to the position of that sitting government, or it is perceived to be.
Yes.
So it's not that they don't see, they do see. The discussion is here about the mode of solutions that is sought. And you're asking, does it really solve the problem, or is it band-aid? See, that is it.
Okay. And by the way, Kasmuel, allow me, there's something you've said that has made me even shiver. And I don't want to leave here. Wacha niseme nitoke. You've said that this is the first president who has declared they are going to compensate people. Kasmuel, this is what is my biggest pain. The president's duty is to use the resources given to him, which is taxpayers' money, the natural resources, and the human resource in Kenya, to create opportunities for the young people he is killing. His work is not to take our money, kill people with the money, bury them with the money, Kenyan money, because the money he gives for burials, government declares we shall take care of that burial because I've killed you, I'll take care of that burial. Then secondly, compensate your mother. How does my mother feel if you take my money, because the Kenyan taxpayers' money is being used to kill me with DCI and all those people? After you kill like Ojwang, compensate him, compensate their mothers, then now we are compensating you with Kenya's money. Who killed Ojwang, that person should compensate Ojwang. Who killed Kariuki? Who killed Julia Njoki? Who killed Bridget? And then the state funds are being used to compensate them. Then you create a job for Professor Kamau Mutua, who, as we speak, has started earning. No Kenyan has been given money for now, but he's in office now, earning money, enjoy government trappings of power, that he is going to compensate people. My brother, this is a scam. Such things should not be given a minute.
Compensating people from, was it 2018 or 2017 protests? But I'm sure you will have a chance to respond to that. I'd like you to finish the second part of the question. I think it was both CT and Prof that had asked you. Was it about, what was it about? Because you've
about systemic change, and the president not seeing the problem, and
my view is
he sees it's just that he threw us, and he actually gave a solution. It's just that it was not good enough. So CT asks, why do I think this mode is going to solve over these other ones, and also maybe just to handle Prof's question. I think Prof, and this is what I think could be the problem with the leftist movement, is that we will wax lyrical towards each other. We can say the things that are going to trend, and I know them, and we can have all these talking points, but eventually you are not part of you're not part of administrative problems, so you will not, I cannot come to you with that. And even however hard you talk towards me and you tell me this, the best it can do is it will get likes, because I have no mandate, I have no stakes in this particular government, and now all I am doing is answering, what we are trying to do is answer this question that is being posed, that why this particular method. Prof, you and I have been in these streets together, faced the brunt of brutality. I have seen you arrested, I have seen your clothes torn just for distributing posters. I have seen your car vandalized. I have seen you sleep in that car, to the point where your family has gone through whatever it has gone through. But you know what, Prof? Both of us are still alive. We were the same ones in the spaces last year, and this is an equivalent of a space. This incessant taking people to the streets, and we never account for it. Prof, it cannot be that we will only be the leaders of this revolution when we come to the media stations, but then when people die, we do not say that we are the ones who sent them there. I think that is the thing that I am opposed to. I am saying that our movement must be life-affirming. It cannot be that we, the popular faces, we have still remained alive. I will tell you, everyone we were on the front lines with has not suffered harm from this government. Yet we talk and we castigate it the most. But it is the children of the working poor who we sell these ideas to. And we tell them, Maandamano now, Occupy State House now. Those are the ones that keep dying, Prof. And when it's time to take accountability, we say it is Ruto's government that has killed them, which I do not oppose. Let me land. I promise it is.
To do the news.
Yes, it is an answer. Just 30 seconds.
Okay, please do.
We will not progress and take this country forward, because what is the difference between us and the political class that we keep saying? Because even they do not take accountability. The same things you are accusing other politicians of doing are the same things we can be accused of doing. That when it is time for us to come to the stations, we never bring the comrades who go to the streets. It is we who are called here. This dialogue that I am saying is, it will allow everyone to sit down, because at Radio Generation might not have the numbers of the people down there in the streets in Mukuru and Kwaruben who come with us, who fight and say usipige huyu risasi. But a dialogue takes this. For me, this is not even band-aid. This is, we are cleansing the wound. I'm saying that it's not even, we've not even started the surgery.
Can you hold that thought?
Yes, I will.
Don't lose it.
Okay.
Hold it.
Okay.
Let's listen to the news. When we come back,
yes,
we can expound on it.
All right.
There's an artist called Nelly who said it's getting hot in here, and indeed it is getting hot inside Radio Generation. Yani ninawacha hapa, tumeenda break, nadhani mtatulia mkunywe chai Bado mna anyway. Welcome back to the conversation, gentlemen. Sitting you guys in studio, where we also have Professor Fred Ogola, and we also have Kasmuel McOure. He's a youth leader at ODM, and I think Siti Muga had told you to hold on to a certain thought so that you can come and now tell it to us clearly.
Right.
So I have several questions. So to maliza your thought so that we can get to the second part of the conversation.
Yeah, and basically I was just floating the idea that we must find sustainable solutions for whatever it is that is happening. And I was saying that a dialogue does not necessarily fix the systemic problems, but it allows us to sit down and diffuse the emotion out of it so that we can see the wound clearly. It's like looking for something in murky waters. That's what my perspective of that national dialogue is. Because I agree that we need revolutionary change in our country. I agree that there are things that are so deeply troubling and they've gone awry. But I also think that these things can be done with all of us alive. So what I am saying is, and I said that at some point we were only speaking as the youth, but then the political class wished, they said, no, these are just youth, we can wish them away. But then a year later it has been sustained in a way that even after throwing bones at us, even after saying that we can give you the head of the deputy president, that was inconsequential to the youth movement, because people try to make it look like now it is our Munyoro problem, because the political class, they need to identify a problem, and that's what we must learn from them. That they know how to, they will find a problem and name it and start fighting it. So you will not hear them talking about Gen Z anymore. They try to make it look like Gen Z is over and now say it is that wa Munyoro. That's why I think he's being given a lot of is given a lot of leash to say whatever he can say, so that they can identify a problem. But for us in our movement, the thing which I keep on saying is, if you have the right to be alive, Prof, if you have the right to life, the people down there who are shot by the police, who do not come from these uptown sides, also have the right to be alive. The option I will take in any day is the option that gives both me and that person the right to live. Because on the one hand, we cannot say that, Prof, that we want revolution now and we want the government to take accountability for shooting the people. But then when we say occupy tomorrow, when we are asked, so who led? We say that we are leaderless. But we are the ones who are called, yes. So let me just finish and then I'll give it, sorry to take the time. But we have to sit down and say that if you are going to stay alive while doing all these other campaigns, everybody must stay alive. A dialogue process allows all of us to do this in a conclave where I know here we will not be shot, because how can you shoot us in the room where all of us are? We can just diagnose the problem. For me, the whole point of the dialogue is for
diagnosis.
Even diagnosis might be too far. We just sit down and breathe first. We diffuse the temperature, and then now we can sit and bring in these revolutionary changes. But as long as it's taking people to the streets and us, we're not dying, that one I don't agree with.
I'm inclined to agree with some of the things that he's saying. For example, the whole idea of, can we just at the very least tuache kuwa watu kwa barabara, at the very least.
You see, I want to tell you that why we can talk with Kasmuel until tomorrow is that we were in a team. We met severally. Taj Towers, we met severally. We used to discuss what we were going to do. We used to plan. In fact, the day I was being arrested, we had just had a 2 hours meeting at Chester House. Then now we are just walking on the street. Then again we get arrested. So I can tell you, we had an agreement after the arrest that enough is enough. And we had agreed that, actually, Kasmuel, the one who made the statement, let's go to social media and sing the choir there. But they didn't know what we meant by singing choir. Is when the social media activism came, putting Ruto in the coffin, putting Raila in the coffin, putting Museveni. Anybody who was a problem to us was always in the coffin, dead. Because for us, they were dead. In fact, for Kasmuel, Ruto was dead. I don't know why Ruto resurrected in his life again, but he has to tell us how those people are resurrected. So these guys were literally dead in our head. We agreed with Kasmuel that parliament no longer exists. Because after breaking in there on 25th of June 2024, there is no parliament. For us, we are seeing that now we just want Ruto to go home right now. But what happened? They started plucking people from social media. Billy Mwangi, go to Kavuli. Name those people. Peter Muteti. Name those people around. They started plucking them just by using their phone. Ojwang died because of posting. And this continues to lead. Njeri was arrested because of just creating an online thing. So what else can you do in this government and be safe? Somebody is watching TV, eating popcorns, a bullet on their head, they are dead. So even if we sit at home, they have not yet stopped killing. They are still killing people. They are still abducting people. There are people who have disappeared, who people don't know where they are. The Kintengela 4 are not there at the moment. And this thing continues. So let me tell you what, movie, even if we went quiet, there's nothing actually going on. On Sabasaba Day, how many people in CBD? Almost zero, isn't it?
Yes.
How many people died? 37. How did they die? Let them tell us, isn't it? So going to the sea does not happen. But there's another death we are ignoring. How many people are dying because there is no medicine? How many people are dying just because they cannot afford food? And those numbers are higher than the numbers they are counting about bullet. If I'm wrong, go to Mkudi Kwanjenga today and do statistics. Those who just died today because they have been there for around 4 days without food. The people who have died because of medicine, and the same government are already going to throw away medicine worth 2.4 billion shillings to throw away because that they could not distribute them to healthcare facilities. Are you saying the insensitiveness we are talking about? So according to me, you are dead anyway. And I told Kasmuel, for me, I died long time ago, movie. I grew up in a village in Ugenya, the poorest family. My father was a catechist. He earned 1,500 bob. I never went to beg government. I pursued education. At the moment, I have 5 undergraduate degrees, I have 2 master degrees, I have a PhD, I have 16 World Bank certifications, and I cannot work in my country. Am I alive? I'm dead. I'm just walking a dead body. And not just me. Many people in these streets are walking dead. Just go on Gong Road now where we are near. You see someone crossing the road like a dog, meaning that akona hostel bill kwa kichwa, school fees kwa kichwa, mortuary bill kwa kichwa, mtoto anamsumbua mpaka anavuka barabara ni kama yeye ni umbwa. Sio ti amekuwa umbwa. That person is dead walking. I can tell you 19 million Kenyans are on CRB as I speak. You get me?
Yeah.
Around 20 billion Kenyans are having negative because of Fuliza. You get me? So those are the people you are telling us that we are waiting for 2027, and we need dialogue. Which dialogue do you need? With the dialogue come with the economic formula to solve the problem. Will dialogue tell Ruto to stop killing people? If he has said, I have stopped, and they are still happening, what are we dialoguing about? And I want to say, with a lot of respect here, again, to my brother Kasmuel, this current government has never made any single genius decision. The team in government are extremely incompetent, grossly corrupt, grossly incompetent. Go to healthcare. See how the problems are. Dr. Gikenyi was here this morning complaining.
Yeah.
We even have whereby people go to strangle people in hospital to kill them when they are in a ward. Are they on the street? They are being strangled in a ward and they are dying in Kenyatta. How does that happen? So what are we discussing about the street? Kenya is dangerous everywhere, not even in the street. So it just depends where you're going to die. You'll die anyway.
Right.
So my point is, we cannot be postponing this thing and just talking nicely and saying, oh, sijui Raila Odinga, William Ruto. These people have been in government forever. They have no clue how to run this economy, and the Kenyan problem is economic. It is not political. Look at foreign policy. Some Boniface Mwangi gets arrested in Tanzania, gets mistreated. Then you say, I cannot stand on the way of diplomatic relationship between Kenya and Tanzania. The Kenyan foreign policy based on 3 things. Peace, number 1. 2, prosperity. Number 3, global competitiveness. When you are seeing a Kenyan being mistreated in Tanzania, do you know Rwanda is a small country? You cannot touch a Rwandese. Let Kenya try, you see. A small country punching above his weight. Kenya, a economic hub of the region, you get a Kenyan being mistreated, they'll come after you. For me, the Kenyan citizens comes first. Economically, I can tell you. in my foreign policy, when I'm running for head of state of Kenya, when I'll announce, I've not told you, but me, I'm still discussing about what I want to do for Kenyans. I say we need to put Kenya first. I give you numbers.
So Kenya Kwanza.
The government of Kenya, where this guy, falls, my Kenya Kwanza is not your Kenya Kwanza. I know, my brother. So look here, the Kenyan government, all public vehicles they buy is 1,850 vehicles running the government. Those are TXS, isn't it? I'll tell you, just servicing those vehicles only, they take to Toyota Kenya, one after 9,000 kilometers is 300,000 shillings to service. You get me? What are the services they're doing for a brand new engine, or just changing oil and water, which I can change at the petrol station, which will charge only 9,000. Let me say
they don't even charge that one.
Actually, it is 2,500. Then they take them to Toyota Kenya for service. Yet, if you walk Ngong Road, how many garages are there belonging to Kenyans? That those garages cannot be able to add oil and water. And these people can change, and a full engine can bring an engine down, remove parts and put together. And you give a Japanese company to service vehicles. Do you know how much it costs? 6.1 billion a year to service in Toyota Kenya. That money goes to Japan. Then the president goes to Japan to beg money from Japan and take loan and then come back and pay. We take our money, give Japanese, take it back and pay them with interest. How foolish are we? Put Kenya first. Now rice is being imported from Japan. Farmers in Moya Tabere here are here. Right here they are harvesting until December, isn't it?
Right.
You go to Ahero. They are harvesting, but we are importing them from Japan because they want to make deals. So broad-based government is broadly based because even some cronies are being brought in government to do tenders on wheels. I hope, Kasmuel, you won't do those deals. I hope you won't be a broker importing, I don't know, things from China on behalf of ODM to do these things. Because that's what is happening, my brother. These people have no any sense of heart. It makes me feel so bad that there's enough to make everybody actually survive, but some people are too greedy that nobody actually can survive in this country. And lastly, my pain. I'm a professional. The professional voice in Kenya is never listened to. When an economist says something right, he becomes a politician or called an activist. Have you not seen Gikenyi being called an activist? So which course did you call for activism? He's a surgeon, isn't it?
Yeah.
People don't say a surgeon has spoken about healthcare. They say an activist. Like you, Kasmuel. Are you an activist?
No.
Which course did you do in activism?
No.
Me, I'm a professor now. They call me an activist. In the US, Harvard used to criticize the government of US. That's why they created the School of Government, Harvard School of Government, where professors could tell you economically you are wrong on this. Go and check. When Kamala Harris came with her manifesto, Trump came with manifesto, they scored Trump's manifesto better than Kamala Harris. Based on numbers, they like her, but they still said, we love you, but please. Ukweli wa mambo ni hivi. Sivyo? Now, for us here, we come with manifesto for ODM. Can you take the manifesto of ODM in the School of Government for analysis? If you do, you say, when I was opposing Kenya Kwanza government bottom-up economic model, I was campaigning for Raila. They didn't know that I was just an economist. Now, am I with Raila? No, I was not with Raila. I was with the truth. And that professional dissent is not allowed. Youth have something they have to say. Their dissent is treated as abductions and killing. So for me, the biggest thing is that how do you go for dialogue with someone who is holding a gun and telling you sit down with dialogue? So, Kasmuel, this year is arresting people, isn't it? ODP only charges the people he wants to charge, isn't it? And we're having dialogue over what?
Prof,
we shouldn't.
Are you saying that you've ruled out the prospects of dialogue completely?
There is nothing it will produce, but you can go and do it.
No. That's not what I asked. I asked, have you ruled out just the simple subject of dialogue completely?
Yeah, because what will happen, I know how this goes. They'll go to Parliament and do you terms of reference. You only follow that. Remember, even Raila, when they're doing the NADCO, he was told, toa hiyo mambo ya unga hapo, that's our work. Let us discuss about how to form opposition, isn't it? Now, what do we need opposition for? Raila Odinga is already inside government, isn't it? Within government, Raila do his magic, isn't it? He has a team of experts. Let them do their magic side there. When you hear the ODM team of experts, Oparanya told Kenyans don't pay Hustler Fund, isn't it? You can check the clips on record. Then now he is the CS. Now he's saying pay Hustler Fund.
Yeah, he has to, because now he's in charge of Hustler Fund.
Then Mbadi said education can be free very easily, isn't it? Now he has said it cannot be free easily. Now, I also tell Raila Odinga, maybe you have to tell him, if they want ODM to shine, let them give them real experts, because Mbadi is not an economist. Mbadi is an accountant. Accountants are good in doing postmortem to tell you how your patient died. So Mbadi will give you a very good record how the economy collapsed in his hands. But he cannot have the planning foresight. And we have seen everything he says has no planning or foresight. And I want to quote, because you may think I'm joking. Mbadi said the Kenya shilling is good optimum at 130 shillings to the dollar to give us what? Exports, isn't it? China is exporting more than anybody else, isn't it? How weak is the Chinese currency? UK, US. So when I'm not talking about that, I dismiss him. From what he says every day makes me realize that my suspicion that an accountant is an accountant. This government walks like a duck, talks like a duck, quacks like a duck. It is a duck. There's no dialogue in the duck.
You've forgotten one thing. It has webbed feet.
Yes.
That's very good.
Kasmuel,
I'd like to
something
rebut.
you wanted to say, yes.
Yes, I wanted to rebut Prof. That Prof, on the one hand, you're saying that, and I'll speak specifically about Minister Mbadi.
Yeah.
On the one hand, you're saying that he's not an expert and that he's a bad minister, an accountant.
Not a bad, I'm just
ideally
saying
that an
competence.
accountant.
He called him a bean counter, full stop.
That's what he said,
Yes.
in effect. And then you also say, on the other hand, that accountants are good for post-mortem. And they're good for telling you after.
But that's what accountants are.
Okay. But then this minister comes and tells you that this free education thing, it was like this in paper. And it has been promised for a very long time that it's supposed to be 22,000, but the government has been giving 17,000. Isn't that a contradiction in yourself? Because he's saying that after the fact. Not that I actually, I think it was rather reckless to speak about it on a roadside convention, because this is a thing which the CS would have communicated. But I think that is out of the way. In all honesty, we have to this broad-based government was not a handshake like the rest.
Gentlemen, let me ask you the question.
Yeah.
The honest conversation around this free education,
Yes.
as an example,
Yeah.
what is it really? Did we afford it as a country, or did somebody afford it for us?
Both. We both afforded it as a country, and then it was financed
I'm
by...
addressing
Let me
by
explain
both, yeah.
it. Let
He is
me
the
explain
economist,
to you,
yeah.
because let me explain what happened.
Yeah.
We told Kibaki that we have 12,500,000 households in Kenya, with an average of 4 children per household going to school. And each child spends 63,000 per year on education. So on average, every family spends 250,000 shillings per household in education. So then we said, when you ask a partner like Visa Card or MasterCard to fund education, they can do. But if you tell them to give handouts to the people in the household, they will not do. So if you talk to Visa Card and MasterCard to put some money on free education, they'll do. Then once you offer that education, that becomes a stimulus to the economy. It's like if you take 250,000 times 12,500,000 is 108.9 trillion. It's like you have thrown that money in the economy.
You've released that money into the
Now,
economy.
somebody can buy alcohol with it. He can marry 2 wives with it. You can set up a business with it. You can be able to buy apparels with it. And the economy grows. That's why even the double-digit collection in funds grew. So that was the magic. Now, why is it that MasterCard and Visa Card cannot come to do education? Remember, the first thing, Raila Odinga dismissed Sam Ongeri, who was the Minister for Education, for corruption in education. Then he was brought back. You get me? So from there, these partners started realizing that the red tapes in Kenya, the lean and clean government they thought we are going to run has become a broad-based government. So by having a broad-based government, before you see the president, you have to see 18 people where you're giving money and giving money and giving money, isn't it? Now,
By
how
giving,
can
you mean bribing?
bribing?
Okay.
How can MasterCard meet the president? Ask me. he has to meet people who will give money, isn't it? MasterCard is not interested in that. Visa card is not interested in that. So they have gone China, whereby Chinese can come with a briefcase and meet you, isn't it? That's why I saw the president telling Trump, we don't care about NATO ally. Chinese are doing well with us, isn't it? But let me tell me any single country in Africa which has developed with the Chinese policy. No way. The Western countries, in spite of the fact that they give you conditions, isn't it? They have done some things.
Like which one? I want to give examples.
Roads. Let me give you the difference between the Western and the Eastern. The Western countries, they look like they're telling you, here is a trough of water. The water is boiling. So you can cool it before you jump, isn't it? Which means meet these conditions before you jump. The Chinese tells you there's a basin.
Let him land.
Let me finish.
Let him land.
There's a basin here. The water is cooled, isn't it? So the frog jumps in, but there's fire underneath, isn't it? So either way, you are going to burn. So all these things whereby entry is easy, when you enter a cave and you find it easy to enter, you don't know the exit. So in any way, these people don't know the foreign policy, the fiscal policy that can attract investors even to invest in education.
Prof.
And that's why we said in our policy, lean, clean government, which is transparent and efficient.
What's your question, CT?
No, my question is a very simple one. He made a statement. I want him to qualify it. This Western aid that has helped Africans grow, which one?
When I talk about foreign aid, I just know about Visa card and MasterCard that gave money to government. In fact, when the corruption for Samongeri took place, those partners were asking for accountability. So now, if you look at the front page of the newspaper today, isn't it? You are sitting in London, in New York. You want to come to Kenya. Are you coming? You can't. In fact, if you give me 50 newspapers from here to Timbuktu, isn't it? All of them, it shows that we are a crime scene. Money investors are going to Tanzania. Investors are going to Ethiopia. They are calling Rwanda the jewel in Africa, isn't it? Why are we? In spite of the bad leadership of Museveni, they still Uganda is still a part of Africa. What is Kenya? So what I'm trying to say is that this education has nothing to do with how much taxes we can collect. We need a president of goodwill. When your president goes to Germany and he speaks, then he's being rectified by saying, we didn't say that, he has lied. This is a fact. He lied in Germany. The German press has to correct him, isn't it? Now, we sign a deal with NATO. Then the American says that they are going to review our NATO ally, meaning that Kenyans can sign an agreement that they cannot implement. Now, why should a Visa card sign an agreement to work with you if you cannot implement with the US? So what I'm trying to say is that we are not running this country in a way to attract people inside. Do you know, my brother, I work with the European Central Bank as an economist. I help turn around the pigs, Portugal, Italy, Greece, and Spain. I know how the people make money. Even as a bank, when I want to give money, when I was a banker with housing finance, I have to check whether you have a wife. Sometimes I tell you, mama. Do you know it's important?
Why?
Someone who beats his wife cannot easily come to the bank with a wife. And a wife beater will default in a loan. There's 88% evidence they can default. No, this is true.
No, Prof.
No, I'm just, City Muga, I'm trying to say that we must check your behavior to bank on, because let me explain, City Muga.
Yes. The reasons why someone wouldn't come to the bank with their wife can't be just around wife beating, for heaven's sake.
I agree.
It is just one of the reasons.
No, he's focusing on it as though it's the primary reason, and I'm trying to say it's
and ideally in most times the biggest idea is the one that comes easily to you.
A president killing his own citizen, that is Kenya being his wife, isn't it? Now let me make my logic clear. Kenya is Ruto's wife at the moment. He's the husband, isn't it? You are just abducting and killing until a foreigner reminds you, stop killing your wife. You get to me?
Right.
So how can such person attract investors and even partners to do business? They cannot.
Kasmuel akona tashwishwi hapa.
Yes, I have a rebuttal, and Professor Fred, this is in utmost respect.
Yeah.
One, because you taught me, and therefore this rebuttal is a doing of your own.
Yes, I like it.
Who's brought this up for yourself? Yeah. The thing that, Prof, you're not saying about free education, despite at the time there being 12.5 million homes with an average of about 4 children and each household spending about 250,000 per year. The part that you're conveniently leaving out is that you, the professionals in Kibaki's government, told him that it could not be done. Right now, the president made it as an executive order. Free education did not come as a recommendation from the professionals. The professionals with all this data, the part that
Actually, it was the other way around.
No. At the time when Kibaki comes in, there is no money. Remember, in the central bank, the professionals at the time are saying that there is no money to execute such a thing. And this we can even we can go into history. So that's why I'm saying there's conveniences, and when even speaking about foreign policy, I'm a bit worried because we are forcing a professor to speak like a politician, because when you're talking about MasterCard and Visa, these are partners who the people who are supposed to be sympathizing with are supposed to be the people who are in more like classical government, because world over we know what the reputation is. We know what the reputation of the Bretton Woods institutions, which are the World Banks, the people who we keep on saying are the bad institutions. So even as a Pan-Africanist, this feels contradictory to your mode of speech. And when you speak about, for example, the Chinese model not working and the Western model not working, in this movement that we are a part of, you know that the chant that permeates it is down with imperialism. So on the one hand, there are people who are suggesting more socialist principles over more capitalist principles. But the thing that you're also conveniently leaving out when you're saying that the Chinese principle does not work and the American principle sort of works is that China has never needed these things, is that America's debt is to China.
So not only that,
you might say that
the Chinese model has worked for 1.5 billion people. So I mean, if there's a proof of concept, where else do you need a proof of concept other than that?
Yeah, so
but I think the question here we're asking, has it worked outside?
Yes, let me advance it. I'm going to advance
African country has developed with the Chinese helping them?
I can advance it. I can advance this thing which you're saying. Those are part of now in terms of foreign policy that we're not looking at. And you wax very lyrical about this country called Rwanda. And because I hope to if God gives me the chance and the people to participate in leadership, I cannot go too much into detail into the atrocities that are happening around countries if we are thinking foreign policy. If Rwanda is a significantly small country in terms of comparison, in terms of size and population, if Rwanda is working so beautifully, Prof, this Ngong Road that you speak of, who are the people who are selling njugu on our streets? Because for you, coming in as an expert from a foreign country, the Rwanda's economy is working for you. If it's working so well, why are the people who are selling njugu on our roads, why are they Rwandese? In your agitation, and as I will be coming into governance, we keep on saying that foreigners are now being given IDs. What populations do we complain of? We say that there's very many Burundians who are doing the hair care business, and very many Rwandese. But when we come to these media stations, we speak of these countries as if they're the most glorious places. Now, landing into this point where we say that the Oriental model versus the Western model. Every person we have termed a hero in Africa, when we are talking about Lumumba, when we speak about Kwame Nkrumah, when we speak about Akina Tata Madiba, when we speak about the early days of Akina Mugabe and Akina Nyerere, the people, when we think about all these people, the model that they proposed to the people are a more people-centric model, which is the one you two are proposing, where we would rather have clean drinking water for all than champagne for a few. In the sense that we want more good to go inside towards the public. That same model, while it might not be happening ideally, is the Oriental model. That's why heroes like Jaramogi were being hated at their time and being told that they are pushing socialist ideas. But we are mostly the people who have been hailed the most, the people who we think are even if you do research, the things that crop up is we want an end to corruption. We want education to be made free. We want healthcare to be very, very affordable. We want employment, and we want food. Those are the things that happen that are concerns that are brought up in developing countries, nations. Yeah. Those things, when you hear those concerns, and they also happen in America, because I just came back from there. those are realized more. The economies that take a more left-leaning approach are the ones that think of these public goods as things that should be mandated and done by government. So that's why I would have some pushback, in the sense that now I even see the contradictions in Prof showing up, in the sense that there is the economist and then there is the man of the people, who are consistently at war. If I can understand this about you, Prof, you also have to understand this about these people, because even that Kibaki government that we speak of, we are speaking about it reminiscing, but we forget the atrocities against human rights. Why are we pushing and saying that because economy was doing double digits then? We are not comparing any other aspect. We are not comparing.
Then, Kasmuel,
yes,
this economy that was doing double digits,
yes,
against the background of the Moi government,
yes,
and the ecosystem in which the Moi government existed isn't discussed.
Yes.
The Cold War was still on.
Yes.
What Moi was dealing with is not what Kibaki was dealing with.
Right.
One could argue that the problems the Moi government had set the platform for somebody who was willing to do things like Kibaki to thrive.
And that's what I'm saying.
To judge, if you're talking about Kenyan government, judge the Uhuru government.
Yes.
Because the Uhuru government got a government that had been organized and was working. What did he do with it?
Because
money.
now we will get in there, and if
Borrowed
we are
money.
to talk,
What did he do
if
with
we are
it?
to talk about that Uhuru government, 6.2 trillion in terms of a debt burden is what was stolen in that.
This is what was inherited.
Yes, inherited by Ruto's government. And I don't, you know my position. I do not like
Let
to
us-
advocate
let
and
us
even
do
be
this.
pragmatic about
Let us
these
do it.
governments.
Let's do about this.
Yes.
If you get a patient in the ICU, your work is to take them to HDU. Your work is not to take them to the mortuary. So I don't want people discussing about who was there before. The issues now.
No, it's okay.
Listen, City Muga. The issues now we have are inherited. You cannot say, forget about Kenya, let's open a new page. That is not
No, but that's
possible.
exactly what City is saying.
No,
in the
no,
sense that
I'm
Prof,
saying we know the historical issues which were there,
Yes.
isn't it? The historical issues which are there, even you cannot get rid of them. In fact, even now, Kenyatta should have blamed colonials.
no,
And let's say, for example, let's take this out of
By
politics.
Kenyatta, you mean Jomo Kenyatta?
Yes.
even Uhuru.
Let's talk about this way. You come to radio generation and you become the CEO. If you want to succeed, the first thing, spend 1 year blaming your success, your predecessor. You'll be very successful. Explain his character, how he woke up, whom he talked to. Then the next year, blame the economy, isn't it? Then the third year, blame the employees for not supporting you, isn't it? Then ask for the second contract, because I'm sure CEOs is always 3 years contract, isn't it? You'll be a very successful man, isn't it? But now, how comes the Kenya Kwanza government that promised ukombozi inakuja, sivyo? Jesus did not blame the Jews for what they did to the people. Jesus just came and proclaimed his gospel. I can tell you the character of blame game you can do. Lee Kuan Yew had all reasons to explain why Singapore was not working, isn't it? But he has also enough reasons to explain what is working. We are now discussing obvious things. Obvious things. Stop abducting people. How much money do you need to stop abducting people?
So
We are saying stop killing people. How much money do you need? And I can give you that budget if you need that money to stop killing people. I can give you that money today, isn't it? We are telling people stop tribalizing the country. Like now he's saying that in spite of all these fights, Rigathi Gachagua is taking more credit because he's fighting for the Kikuyus, isn't it? The problem we have is not a Kikuyu problem. When education cannot be there, it is touching everyone. The other day they said it is Kikuyus. Then Duale came and said it's the Catholic Church, isn't it? I have to remind Duale that the Catholic Church runs 32% of healthcare in Kenya, isn't it? So if you don't pay NHIF or Shashu, you are touching them. They run 36% of the schools in the country. When you don't do that, you are touching them. Bishops have told William Ruto, stop lying. And when they meant by stop lying, they didn't tell the president is lying, just general lying. He meant, he promised, we'll pay you this money, and he has not paid. And we told them, we don't want your money in churches because you owe us. I'm a DVC in Uzima University. He owes us 1.8 billion shillings for preparing nurses to go to Germany, isn't it? MKU is owed 3.2 billion shillings. I can count for you all of them.
Okay.
Even all vice chancellors went to Mombasa and issued a statement. What we are asking for simple, pay your bills, isn't it? And these bills are normally passed in budget.
These are vice
Where
chancellors from
All
private.
public and
universities.
private.
Okay.
All universities are owed so much money they cannot even operate. We are not even discussing about money or research. We are discussing that even their books can't work.
Okay.
We are supposed to build a level 6 hospital in Uzima. We are looking for 1.2 billion shillings. Then we have gotten a financier to give us 8.5 billion shillings. But they need that we have to put our 1.2 billion shillings first, because I've got an investor from Norway to do that. But now the VC is telling me, Professor, I know you have in this investor. How can we borrow money from another bank to put on the ground, yet we are owed money because the council told me we cannot allow you to take another loan from elsewhere? And this dilemma is everybody. Why? What does that got to do with Uhuru? The 1.8 billion shillings.
It has everything to do with Uhuru, Prof.
Yes.
Anyway, you can blame Uhuru. Then if you can't fix it, get out. That's what I'm saying. If you can't fix it, get out. We get a transition government to fix it. Because what's happening, my brother, I've given him a formula of what I've said can fix the economy.
Yeah.
Evolve. Kenya needs to evolve.
Prof.
And I have a formula for it for economics to work. Then I'm asking him, does ODM have one?
Yes.
He says
no, I'm about to give you a Prof.
There's scholars in here.
Let's
No,
start with City.
yes, go.
Then
Prof.
we go to
Prof.
Kasmuel.
Prof, I have always loved your perspective on issues. You bring fresh ideas, interesting perspectives. What's coloring them now is that you are a declared candidate.
Yes.
So you sound like you're campaigning for yourself. It waters down the perspective that you offer with such clarity. It is true what you say, and that is what we ought to look at. But in discussing issues of a nation, you must give it perspective. You must give it context. Uhuru is being brought in as context. Kibaki cannot be discussed without the context of Moi. You can't discuss the context Moi without the context of Kenyatta 1. All we're saying is, you know, here we're in a talk show.
Yeah.
And not everybody knows what we're discussing here. So when we do this, it is so that our listeners can actually get a perspective of what it is we're talking about. And we also want to deconstruct it so that it is not a complex issue. It is understood. So when those who are given to apportioning blame can apportion blame correctly and say, so this is what we're dealing with. If our political leaders had the courage to tell their citizens the truth, we promise this, it's not working, folks.
Yeah.
We try to do this, it's not working. This government doesn't do that. The government spokesman in this case, who happens to be the president himself, heaps promise upon promise. I don't know how it is that they can't see that simply halting and saying this is what we promised, and folks, it's not working the way we thought it would work. It would change the conversation so much. There'll be a lot of noise, a heck of a lot. But the beauty of the truth is that you don't have to look for an alternative. Once you've said it, it stays. The problem with the promise, it comes with tentacles, and it invites other organisms to join it. And before you know it, it becomes a monster. Because now you're not even sure what can be done and what can't. And yet you could have halted all that.
But before you go, let me just say something which is very short. The late Pope John Paul II wrote an encyclical called Veritatis Splendor. Veritatis Splendor in Latin means the beauty of the truth. And the beauty of the truth is that from the truth then we start knowing where we are going. And I'm trying to say there are some things that the Kenya Kwanza government can do without going back to history. Tell me what they are and tell me whether they are doing them.
All right, thank you. So Kasmuel, kindly.
Prof, I'll hinge upon this segment upon an analogy that you made, that if you find a patient in ICU and you're a doctor, what you need to do is take them to HDU and then eventually to the ward and hopefully back to their homes. But you cannot take them from ICU to HDU without knowing their medical history. That is why, and we do not have, it is not too deep. We don't have very many presidents to look into and say this is where we got it wrong. It's just 4. And we can look and say this is where Kenyatta went wrong, and that's what contributed to the creation of a Moi. This is what Moi did wrong that led to the creation of Kibaki. And Kibaki possibly thrived in his first term because the people were at the point where is not rice bora rice. Yeah, that's why he gets away. He does not. It's not because he was so exceptional as a leader.
He had enormous goodwill,
yes,
which he squandered.
Yes, and remember, this Kibaki president that we're speaking about, right now we would never consider him as a leader. I'm saying this because this is a person who had been in politics for 40 years. I need you to think about everybody you know right now who's been in power for 40 years and what you think of them. So if at that time you were my age, you would not have considered Kibaki a great leader. Now moving forward, then we get into Uhuru's government, where a president stands and says, 2 billion napotea kila siku, sasa mnataka nifanye nini? And he is excused because he has aura. Yes, because he knew how to deal with the people. That's the thing. That's the person. And you're telling me, let's not look at that one. And I hear right now people in the movement who are calling themselves revolutionary, they start their chants by saying, hello cousins. You look at Rigathi Gachagua, and I'm so sorry to speak about individuals. I had said I will hold back, but now we have to now dissect this problem, and so that it is known where I am apportioning blame. The person who was killing us last year, Prof.
Yeah.
He was ordering, and he stands right now and he says, he goes to the US and says the president is meeting with is heading up parallel governments and he's meeting with Al-Shabaab. You refuse, you want to conveniently forget that he is the one who received RSF. It is not the president who met RSF. It is he who welcomed them on a red carpet from the plane and took them, and now he wants to say it is the president. This very same person who went to the streets, he used to go to the office at 4 a.m. and ensured that this was televised to say that tunataka kufanya hii watu ya kuvaa masufuria kwa kichwa waache hiyo upuzi yao, because all they do is tear down and not build. That was when Akina Raila were doing the Njaa revolution, which we are doing, saying that when you're saying that these people are dead anyway, you know, the people who are going to the streets, if I am to make a case for the streets, they're going to the streets because they have nothing to lose but their miserable lives. So right now it's even worse, because a child who is not like Prof or me can be shot in the home. But now what I am saying is, you want to tell me that because the most revolutionary thing that Rigathi Gachagua has done, for example, is that he got impeached from office. But I see people from your movement, still, the movement that we led together, because now we have to put it in the open, we planned a lot of this work we did together. Right now, Prof, you're sitting with me and in a conversation where I'm saying, let us go for a dialogue. On the one hand, I see one of the presidential candidates you're fronting, Maraga. Because now that's a moment, Prof. No, let me land. I'm discussing you because the reason I'll tell you why I'm bringing him up is you're also a presidential candidate, a presidential hopeful, and I hope that you make it to the ballot, that there are no systemic challenges that will buy you from the ballot. Now I'm discussing you not as my friend Professor Ogola, I'm discussing you as a presidential candidate. Part of the people you're working with are Maraga and Omtata. No, like the people in the movement, and we know these faces. They are working now. They've divided themselves along the lines of Omtata and Maraga, and a few are in your court. Maraga presides over. He has explicitly stated that he rejects this proposition for a dialogue. And he says that he thinks it is political chicanery between ODM and the government of the day. And then he goes ahead and says, but I'm seeking out friends of across sectors of like mind so that we can chart a way forward. When I ask him today to the people, because I have to apportion blame so that it is understood, he presided over a very corrupt judiciary. The thing that he is remembered for is for the landmark ruling of annulling an election. In 2017. Then all Maraga did as the president of the Apex Court, one of the most corrupt times when we had this thing, and the lawyers they'll bash me for this, but we know it was a very corrupt judiciary at the time. The best he could do is write an advisory to the president. When does he write an advisory to the president that the parliament that is sitting is unconstitutional? In 2021. That September 2021 is when Maraga has this revolutionary idea that, you know what, the parliament is not constituted constitutionally because it does not obey the 2/3 gender rule. Then he writes an advisory and leaves it at that. He did not have the cojones to resign from the government that he is now telling people to resign from. Let's talk about Senator Omtata, who is presenting himself, and we organized in the senator's office. You know this. Now when I am not at odds with the work that he does. I am not at odds with the work he is doing. I just now want to invite people so that I make my final point of why we need to do the dialogue. The audits he is focused on. He thinks of himself as Okia Omtata, the author who I fell in love with, and he brought me into reading. He developed my eloquence. I have to give that to Senator Omtata. I thought he had a very cool name. But the audits he is doing, would you tell me that he is putting as much pressure on Busia? He's doing the same amount of justice to the people of Busia as he is purporting to do for the country. Because everybody someone makes a poster of you today, then you forget all your responsibilities. Now you want to be president. All you're doing is you're moving around. Everybody is setting up exploratory committees. You have letterheads with 2027. And the people who are campaigning for you are saying that they want a revolution now. But the people who are at the top are saying, no, let us tujihami na vitambulisho, tujihami na kura, kwa sababu hii serikali ni mbaya sana, lazima iende nyumbani. Those are the same people who are stalling the revolution while waiting for you to make the noise, and then they can come and do the crowning moment. I am saying that let them stop being cowards. When it is the time for men, that's the reason why when I come here, I say that I'm also in an elective period. I would have gone to ODM and done a coup. I would have said that even right now, the youth leader, the person who's heading the youth league, is unconstitutional. He's not a youth. But I would have said, now we as Gen Zs, we want to occupy this office.
Are you actually saying that he's not?
I am. It is not. It is in public domain that the current youth leader is not a young person constitutionally.
Okay.
But instead of occupying that office, what I have done is, because the party has seen this and the party is going into an election period, I have said, I will subject myself to elections just like everybody else. But we cannot have your cake and eat it, Prof, where you want to advocate for a revolution now, and then the people who are the face of that movement currently are saying, take Kura for 2027 and chant one term, and then the very same people are telling me that now, no, the person who will fix this is Matiang'i. The person who will fix this, I'm finishing, just 30 seconds. The person who will fix this is Matiang'i. The person, where Maraga goes to a congregation in his home, and he is heckled and he is told, wacha hii upuzi, unaharibia Matiang'i kura. Then I look at this and say, these people are just doing this for popularity. Once people get this idea to vie for president, they abdicate everything else. They forget all the work that they're supposed to be doing. I am saying that this dialogue is important because it will allow more Professor Fred Ogolas to emerge. It will allow more Kasmuels, because there are young people who might not make it to radio generation, to be seen at that national stage. And the people must be trusted to be their own liberators. That if you tell me Rigathi Gachagua now is a revolutionary, I am being told that, right now you cannot touch him online, even you. When you're talking, of course, you are no respecter of persons. I'm not saying you, I'm saying you figuratively. But right now, to the Kenyan people, anyone who seems to be opposing Rigathi Gachagua is being told that you are a government agent. Anyone who seems to be opposing Matiang'i, you are a government agent. Anyone who says, but Maraga, you are saying this and this is what you did at the time, and it is the young people who are saying we're done with these old people. And then I ask myself, okay, how old is Maraga? He's 74. Then I think at some point we just have to sit down as a nation. Part of why I'm asking for this dialogue, the points that Professor Ogola has spoken about, I even would have thought that he is an Azimio candidate, because he speaks about manufacturing. That was agenda number 2 for under Azimio la Jitihada. He speaks about the agricultural sector, Azimio la Ukulima. Speaks about us increasing our input in manufacturing, Azimio la Viwanda. Recognizing that regardless of any administration that is in power, it is the people's will that is sovereign. Inawezekana Azimio la Wananchi. Then social protection and transformation is under Babake. Like all these things that we are saying, Kenya is at a point where nobody will offer revolutionary promises. Then there's no promise that you will bring.
You said 30 seconds.
Yes, sorry. There's no promise. I am a politician. There's no promise that you will bring that is new. What we need is to foster as much goodwill to the point where when I listen to Professor Fred, I cannot just cherry pick when I choose you to be professor. I must trust that you're professor at any given time.
All right, I'd like to hear what the professor has to say.
First of all, let me remind Kasmuel, and I'll give you video evidence that I'm the one who wrote Azimio manifesto, the regional manifesto of 11 regions. We launched with Oparanya at Sarova Pan-Africa. So
I remember, Prof.
Let's put that on record. So if you say they are similar to what I'm trying to say, they are not similar because there was no clear model. But nevertheless, I wrote that regional manifesto.
You believed in it?
I believed in it. Good. But the only thing is that the implementation of it is what I'm wondering, why they have not transferred that ideology and carried the ideology with them into the broad-based government. They have actually forgotten what they were promised, because ODM is a social democracy.
It's a social democracy, yes.
And they should be practicing. But when they go to this thing, now they go to Kenya Kwanza, which is bottom-up and the rest. So putting that aside, let me tell you what, Kasmuel, as a leader, and if you want to be a leader, don't be dismissing other people. Let's discuss who is in State House now, because you can discuss about the excess of Kenya, and it can only be bad. I'm sure if you marry a woman, start reminding her how bad the excess were, isn't it? This woman will not be happy. Which woman wants to discuss the ex with you over date? Go with your girlfriend today over date and tell her that I know your ex. You might actually break up. So let's focus on the current person. I know very well that the issues that were brought there are issues now. That's why in strategy we talk about the issue of previous regime. We review. Then we look at the context now. Then we go forward. So let's not remain too much in the past that we can't go. One of the wisdom I got from Spain is that let your tears stop you from seeing sunrise. There's a sunrise, and this sunrise is very clear. Some of the people I'm mentioning, for me, they are in the sunset, isn't it? Raila Odinga is a sun that has shone from the onset and has made people to have plans. It has been dried maize and beans for us, isn't it? But those are now in sunset days. I am not told years about Maraga. We've never met with Maraga in person. I used to meet Maraga when I was setting up the law school in Strathmore. I used to invite him for talks, but that I was completely a professor. I was never in this space. So I am not telling you I'm with Okiya Omtatah on anything. I've told you the Kenyan problem is economic. Okiya Omtatah cannot provide that economic thinking at the moment because I haven't seen it coming out. Maraga was asking the live television, what's the economic ideology? He told us the team is working on it. And the team is working on what he has not given them anything to work on. So at the same time, allow people to emerge. If I believe I'm the best, then there's a problem. The problem I have in Kenya, we have somebody in State House who is clever more than anybody else, isn't it? Who believes he's the brightest. He has even said he's better than the 4 presidents put together, isn't it? Let me tell you what. I used to be in St. Mary's Siana. There's a guy who went to his parents with a report card where they said maths 90%, very poor, because he was cooking the grades, isn't it? So English, terrible. How can you be like that? Can you accept a report form done by your son? No, it should be done by the teacher. Let Kenyans give Ruto his scorecard. And the scorecard is out. 80% of people are not happy. 8% want this marriage to end today. You understand? And that's why for me, I'm not talking about dialogue, because dialogue is a delaying tactic of buying time. We have 24 months, which are critical, and if we don't amend it now, it does not work. And my last point why I want the transition government.
10 seconds.
If we go to election with this kind of argument whereby 1 term, half term, I cannot go, I'm going nowhere, what, we are going to have bloodshed. And bloodshed can be seen before. That's I'm telling you, these ODM people must be post-mortem people. Predictive analysis can tell you, if I continue moving at this speed, I'm going to have an accident.
Thank you.
And then you avoid the accident by doing something. We need an intervention now, not tomorrow, not in 2027.
Thank you so much, Professor. You have 10 seconds. I'll allow you so that we can end the show, but tumepita na dakika moja tayari.
Thank you very much for this conversation. And Prof, I think when you speak about the Azimio agenda that you wrote, the part that you're leaving out is that you hoped to deliver it if you would administer state. So I don't understand why you understand that it would have been possible for you to get the Azimio under the presidency, and you now know that Raila is not president. And the reason why I've not even spent as much time is I will not spend time. We already know that there's a problem in President Ruto's government. That's why we're even speaking
and
about...
And you have joined it?
I'm joined Raila's party, because I believe it is the party that has been
when
most
you put
consistent.
Ice cream together plus a poo-poo,
yes,
even if the poo-poo is small,
yes,
you cannot eat that.
It's okay, and I feel like that analogy might work, but it is a sensational one.
All right.
If you're thinking about it, when you're telling me about consistency, if I look at all the people who've been in the political field who have specifically stood with the people, it is the ODM. And we are saying that when you're merging all these kinds of things, and we should allow people to emerge, even the people who emerge, they should not emerge from past torturous and corrupt regimes.
All right.
So I could go on, but I understand the show is over.
Gentlemen, we shall invite you here again. And please, when we do, kuja mapema.
Yes.
Big shout out to Atticus now, Walter Ogola. There is also Festi Rowells, and last but not least, that's it. Yeah. Thank you very much, gentlemen. And, we've had a very fruitful debate.
Thank you, Bobby.
I hope we shall continue this at a different time.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so
the dialogue process must continue.
Okay,
that's what you were saying.
Ushasema.